has always been a popular pastime on Vancouver Island, but many people don't realize that in the early days there were a number of ski hills and resorts in this area.
Well, before Green Mountain, there was a ski lodge on Mount Brenton. Well, let's go back to the beginning. Prior to that, there was a group of skiers in Victoria who were expats from Europe and England. Generally, they were higher educated people. Several of them worked at the Parliament buildings and the forestry and the parks departments. And they were interested in skiing. Notably, the Peets family, you may have heard of the Peets trolling reels or fishing equipment. They had a fishing store on Johnson Street, which was subsequently converted into a ski shop. And it was the only ski shop south of, on the South Island, and only one of two on Vancouver Island. The only other one was Peters, I think the name was, in Courtenay. So anyway, these people, and I wasn't there then, but I guess it would be the early 50s. They really had no place to go. The Forbidden Plateau had opened up in 1948, but it was a 5-hour drive from Victoria. And the only other alternative for these people in Victoria who'd skied in Europe, and they loved it, they brought their skis with them, some were from Austria, was to go across over to Washington State and ski at the various places over there, like Hurricane Ridge or Mount Baker, or over in the Vancouver area. Whistler hadn't been opened yet, but there was Hollyburn, and they may have skied over there as well. But they thought, what the heck, we got to have someplace closer by. So they got a permit to build a cabin up on Mount Brenton, right nearby Silver Lake. And this was in 1957 when they built that cabin near Silver Lake. And this group of people was called the Snowbird Ski Club, and I have my badge, my membership badge right here. Yeah, Forbidden only opened in 1948, and the skiing up there the lodge was at a very low elevation. The skiing wasn't great unless you went way back. So they wanted someplace relatively nearby Victoria, so they built this little cabin, a very small cabin up near Silver Lake on Mount Brenton. So I got my first pair of skis for Christmas in 1958, and in January of '59, I'd heard about this lodge up on Mount Brenton accidentally, and I thought I'd go up and have a look at it. And I went up there first week in January 1959, and I loved it. The people were just lovely up there, friendly, inviting. And I got some pictures, not so much of the lodge, but I've got a few pictures here. Here's a portion of the cabin, and there's a team of men working on an expansion for it. This is a work party in October of 1959. I was up there. Here's a picture taken from the same place, from the cabin, showing the ski area. Now you can see the stumps in the background. Anyway, the club had managed to clear a small area, not much bigger than a soccer field, and this is what they skied on. Here's another picture. This is probably the first picture of me skiing in the same area. They are called bear trap bindings. They do not release. If you have a bad fall and the skis stick in the snow, either your skis will break, or your leg will break, or both. So they're very dangerous. And about a month later, our club went up to Courtenay for the Island Champions, the Island Ski Championships, and I went along with them and I entered that race. Me, with less than 2 months skiing experience.
Wow!
Out of 26 people, I came in 24th in the race. So I always used to tell my kids afterwards, your dad used to be the 24th best skier on Vancouver Island. This picture is in a bar in Switzerland, Champéry, Switzerland, which my son Paul was a co-owner of. There's me skiing up on Mount Brenton. There's me having a glass of beer in this bar. And here's a group of skiers, and there's the tow motor up there. At Mount Brenton, one of the skiers was a forester who lived in Chemainus, I forget his name now, But anyway, he said, you guys should go up to Green Mountain. He's got beautiful meadows up there. So we went up, and this is one of the first pictures I took at Green Mountain.
Green Mountain would operate until 1984, until vandals finally destroyed the resort.
The engine for the T-bar was destroyed. The lower lodge was vandalized. It just cost a fortune to put everything back together again. But everybody, the ski club just didn't have the manpower. It was all volunteer. You know, they didn't have the volunteers to, or the energy to go right back to square one again. And coincidentally, Mount Washington opened the same year. So that's where everybody started to go. Ideally, we should have had a watchman up there year-round to safeguard the place, but there was no watchman. The same thing happened to Mount Aerosmith. There was a ski club on Mount Aerosmith, and there was no watchman up there. It was destroyed, vandalized, probably because of the marmot lovers.
Today, the Green Mountain Wildlife Management Area is an important part of the Vancouver Island marmot recovery.
Yeah, those marmot, they were quite happy, living with us, because this lodge was up there, skiers were there for nearly 20 years, and the marmots thrived. They sleep about 8 or 9 months out of the year. Their pulse rate goes from about 120 a minute down to about 2 or 3 per minute. They sleep all winter, deep under the snow, or under the rocks, so we weren't bothering them at all. There's my cousin Patty McNeil and Ross Corfield, I think, in the back seat. That's taken at the foot of Green Mountain. We had to walk from there all the way up and all the way back. That was skied down. This was taken in the late fall, December of 1962. Now, what did I tell? I skipped something. Eric Guest was the fellow's name from Schman's. He said, you guys got to go up there and check out Green Mountain, which we did. And we found this beautiful meadow. Everybody got crazy enthusiastic, and away they went, and they sold debentures. The club was formed, it sold debentures. Volunteers came together. People of all skills and trades came together. People that are connected with the Parliament buildings were in on it too. And by January the following year, an architect had been hired to design the A-frame. And here's the grand opening, January the 23rd, 1963. And doing the honors was Earl Westwood, who was the MLA from Nanaimo. He was the Minister of Recreation, I believe. The play, it's still under construction, and I strongly doubt whether the beautiful big brick fireplace had been installed. But anyway, it was good enough. We had to have a grand opening sometime, so we got the Minister of Recreation up there to do the honors. And I guess the Crown people said, go ahead, as long as you don't cut too many trees down. My son, Mark Verchere, age 6, on Green Mountain Ski Area. You can see all the runs on there. Well, look at the way we're dressed. That's me and my son. There's the lower lodge. They rented skis there, served light lunches.
So when did that lodge get built? Was that before or after the chalet?
Oh, it would be after the chalet. The vandals got in there. They tore out the hot water tank, and the electrical system. They just destroyed everything. So there was nothing to do. It would just be it was just almost a death trap to stay. You couldn't go into it anymore. Here's my son Mark on Green Mountain, January 1971. He got to be a pretty good skier. Here he is a few years later. Beautiful sunset, lovely view. Here's my daughter. That was in 76. I was up there for 9 New Year's Eves, and every December the 31st, it was beautiful. It was run by volunteers. It was very family friendly. A lot of families up there. Frank May from Nanaimo, the former mayor, he fell in love with it. He was up there as often as possible. Here's one of me in 1977. Not the greatest ski outfit in the world. And here's my daughter again. Nice picture.
Mm-hmm. That is...
Look at the length of those skis, 195 centimeter skis.
How much would it cost for you to stay up there?
It was free for me. I had a life membership, $60. And that allowed me to ski as often as I wanted. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, I was working up in the Queen Charlotte Islands. And I could only get away to ski on Green Mountain at Christmas, New Year's, the break, over the Christmas break. So that's why so many of these take place on New Year's Eve. I missed out on all the rest of the year because of working out of town. This was the weekend in 1976. The lodge was closed. Everything was shut down. The tows were shut down over the Christmas break because there was no snow. There was just a little sparse bit of snow there. So I phoned Bruno Clausa, the president of the club, and said, Bruno, I know how to start the generator and do this and do that. He said, okay, if I take my kids up there, just the four of us in the lodge over Christmas. He said, sure, go ahead. So here we are over Christmas. We're the only ones up there. This was inside the lower lodge, which served hot meals. On the upper lodge where we were sleeping, we cooked our own meals. The lower lodge, it's a restaurant, you bought them. I can't close without showing you my love at the time. Her name is Gilbert Bailey. If she happens to see this video, I should say my love at the time and present.
We may never know exactly what happened in Green Mountain and who did the damage, but one thing is for certain, Green Mountain has left many happy memories for its skiers. And a lasting impact in the Verchere family. Marlee would race for Blackcomb Mountain the first year it opened, and Paul went on to become a professional skier.